Wow. Whoa. It's another AEW Dynamite that ends with everyone fighting. There's so many people different fighting. Everyone's in a different faction. Darby Allin is jumping off things, falling down, and hitting the ground very hard. Over on AEW, from AEW on NXT, they've set up one hell of a 2-night run that is NXT Takeover. Kyle O'Reilly cut the promo of his life and is fighting for his soul that he believes is possessed by Adam Cole. So Adam Cole now owns souls. It's NXT, it's AEW Dynamite. It's you watching, you sharing the link so that you don't stink. It's another exciting, interactive, super awesome episode of this little thing we call Wrestlezone. There we go. Wrestlezone. I wish I got to play the whole theme song. We could jam out to it a little bit.
We could.
But people have such short attention spans. Hello, Rest Friend. How are you?
I'm great, Rest Friend. How are you?
Iridian Fierro joining me, Colum alum. Check out the podcast, a female-focused podcast, Wrestfriends with another great Rest Friend, Teddy. I absolutely love it. Wrestlezonian Robert Defelice appeared on a recent episode and made some comments. He made some comments that I will address on today's show.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
We will address them before the end of the evening. If you want the tea, I have a whole glass of it, and I'll spill it right over here before the end of the show. But yeah, definitely check out Wrestfriends. It's available as a podcast. Videos available on YouTube as well, and you're contributing to some other shows as well. Tell us about those.
Yes, you can also listen to me contribute on the Battle Gals podcast for Battleground. And, we're just trying to get out there and do a lot more stuff. We're also doing a lot of collaborations with a lot of other female podcasts. Wrestling Wind Down, you got a Wrestling Gal. We were just recently on Those Wrestling Girls. So we're literally everywhere.
The sorority of wrestling is growing.
You didn't know that there was one, and I'm here to inform you.
Then you got a pledge, and it still has that creepy meme video where everyone's like, one of us.
Good, Kevin. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
That was like last year.
It's a different year, okay? Get with the times, Kev.
Yeah, too sweet. Like it's 98.
Yes, that's 2003.
All right, so what do you want to jump into? You want to talk? We'll talk AEW first, and we'll jump into NXT.
Let's do it. Yeah.
AEW started off, I think, really, really hot. I think it was interesting. They went with Kenny Omega opening the show. This is an interesting thing. Obviously, if Matt Sydal beats the world champion, gets a title shot, that seems reasonable. And they had a lot of time here, a lot more competitive than I thought it was going to be. Kenny showing some thin spots there where it looked like Matt Sydal was hanging with him. But he really turned it up here, especially with he was catching them in the middle of Miorioras. They were doing Frankensteiners off the top rope. This is the best that Matt Sydal's looked in AEW, though. He didn't come up on the end. We kind of knew Kenny Omega was going to win this one.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega is a ruthless, spineless version of himself. The cleaner no more. He's this desperate, kind of old school heel. He's almost a parody of like the badass he was in New Japan in a weird way. But he's still winning matches and still obviously beating people up, but that's the character now. Kenny Omega over Matt Sydal. What do you think?
You know what? Kenny has developed into such an interesting character. He reminds me of, I don't know, like a gangster uncle kind of in the way that he's dressing. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I did like this match. And you know what? Matt was looking good. I'm like, okay, I would hope that, like he gets a little bit more of a push. Because like, of course, against Kenny, you weren't going to get the win tonight, my guy.
No, you get a good show. You get a good show.
Yeah.
You show up. I think so many times with wrestling fans, it's like they didn't have my guy win, so he's buried. It doesn't work that way. I saw people saying like, "Oh, Ricochet's buried on Monday Night Raw, and he's gonna have to lose to Drew McIntyre before WrestleMania." I was like, "That's better than anything Ricochet's done in like
what's Ricochet doing? Nothing."
You're getting the challenger ready for the main event of WrestleMania. That's a pretty good role, dude.
Yeah, that's a pretty good spot, and
it's a pretty solid role. So I think it comes out a little bit more on Dynamite. Yeah. Like you can be a lower card guy at least when they don't burn you nearly as much. Later on in the night, I know we'll zip around here, staying in Kenny Omega. He comes out after a great trios match. I absolutely love this trios match. This is the best match of the night. This is fantastic. This was Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid making his return to the show. Lucha very, very prominently figured into this show. Lot of back and forth. Lot of wild action. Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid pick up the win, pinning Cutler. Brandon Cutler and the Young Bucks lose here. So this does kind of give the Lucha Brothers a distinct advantage, and hopefully these two teams recollide here. And Brandon Cutler is kind of like the fall guy for them in this matter. Yeah. But out comes Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega is really mad at them. He is super, super mad, and he attacks Laredo Kid, and he cuts his promo, and he recalls the events, all these men at Fyter Fest, and he talks about 3 years ago, and he talks about the Young Bucks and how he chose the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks didn't choose him, and he demands that they give him the 2 Sweet, and he demands their loyalty immediately. I thought this was some good stuff, and of course they said no. The Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid lay him out here. Interesting stuff. They give him the package pile driver. Kenny Omega may have won at the beginning of the night, but he got laid out here.
Yeah, I don't know. Kenny is just spreading himself all over the show. You know, he's got a huge entire busy schedule, so you know, applause to him. But I am such a fan of the Lucha Brothers, so I'm excited anytime that I get to see them. And speaking some Spanish, I'm here for it. So I would hope that they get to cut some more promos in the future.
I knew you were going to appreciate the insert promo they did where they went in Spanish and then it was translated. I think it's clever. I think we saw Kushida tonight. He did a promo that was similar in Japanese.
Yeah.
I think it's okay if they subtitled it, which I thought was that's fine. You know, if you want to make it inclusive and stuff like that. It's an international brand, feature more diverse characters, and acknowledge where they're from. And then you have a character like Asuka, like where she'll go in and out of Japanese, and she says the big thing that she needs to say English. I'm okay with it. I see some other people have issues with it, but I'm like, what's the issue? It's like, it's not like they're giving like a 20-minute promo where every other line has to be, it's short and sweet. You know what I mean? It's short and sweet. So I don't mind it. Where do you think this is going with Kenny and the Bucks here? Because last week we were thinking we were going to get Christian Cage and Kenny Omega. He's all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are with Kenny, because with the whole thing that he's on Impact now, like what more can Kenny do, right? Like who are you going to give him next? I would think that it's going to be one of the Young Bucks, or maybe a handicap match against the Young Bucks, because he's going to be like, you know what? I don't need anyone else. I can just take both of them, and it's going to be fine, because if you're not with me, then you're against me. But I have no idea what they're going to do with Kenny right now.
We already have some of the diehards sending in ratings right now.
We're not even there yet, guys.
We're not even there yet, but I appreciate that people are already doing it. Yes, we do a 1 to 10 rating, and you got to be honest with yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself, especially if you didn't catch enough of the other show. We hold you to an honor system. I will shake your hand like Ring of Honor. Some people already seems like most people had a really good thing of it. A Wrestling Wind-Down is in the chat. How you doing, guys? Nice shout out. And people love Britt Baker. Let's talk about her. I think she had one of the better promos of the night on both stations tonight, both NXT. We will cover NXT. They had an incredible promo to end tonight. Yeah. This felt like a go-home show for NXT TakeOver. I was hoping that we had TakeOver next week instead of just 2 weeks from now. Yeah. But we'll talk about them in a little bit. But there's a great promo where she went off on Mick Foley. She said, Mick Foley, you took 20 years to become a hardcore legend. I did it in a night after this fantastic match with Thunder Rosa last night. Something that I know you and I didn't get to discuss it, but I've been following. That was a special match. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker was like another level match. It was pay-per-view quality. It was built up to for months. It paid off. It was the first female main event. And the critique has always been that NXT has a better women's division. Yeah. This was needed. They really, really needed this. And this promo was just like all Britt Baker. She did not lose. Yeah, she got pinned last week. Whatever. I'm a legend now. Look, it was like perfect spin.
Yeah, I love the character of Britt Baker, and she's just such a badass. Like the way that she's representing women right now, like it brings tears to my eyes. Like that match last week, I was disgusted and entertained, and everything about it was beautiful, right? And anytime I think about Britt Baker, I just, oh my God, she's a queen, and I need her action figures. I need her to go against, Shida for the title. So just give me all of Britt Baker all the time.
Let's parlay that later on in the night. We have John Clark, who's very pro NXT, as we have him on the Wednesday night shows. You've seen this before. He has no problem. It's like Fox News with him. He has no problem being completely biased at all. And you're 50-50, whatever is good on either show. You're kind of like me. You know, you jump around. John Clark just can it. He just can it. Just get me NXT stuff. We'll get to it. I don't mind people having fun, and as long as you're being playful here. We do have to bring up this comment. Number one fan of Wrestlezone. We have to talk about it. I know you're the guest. Maybe you want to do the signature intro, because I've been told I don't roll my R's correctly.
I haven't done this in a while. We're gonna have
you haven't done this in a while. He texted in the show. He has a wonderful name. We have to say it out loud for the podcast.
It's this person named James Espanto Fernando Tagoai.
Oh, it's nice. It just sounds like you can just hear it written with a quill pen. James texted him saying Britt and Thunder Rosa should be who AEW builds their division around. I completely agree. We do get Tay Conti, who's been a part of AEW for like more than a year now, which is kind of surprising. Taking on Nyla Rose, and a shocking win. This shocking win. I was not expecting this at all. This breaks down into a brawl with Vicky Guerrero getting into the ring. Akira Shida comes out to save the day and hits her with the kendo stick. And then Allin comes out and she hits Akira Shida. It was a little overbooked, a little overcooked. You know, this kind of post-match brawl, because this was almost parallel to what happened at the end of the night.
Yeah, and you know what? I wasn't mad at it, because
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
See more women come out. It was a little messy, but I liked it.
Yeah. It was just weird to me, because this is like the second to last match, and then they do almost the exact same thing 20 minutes later.
Would you have been upset if they would have done the women like first and then had the same ending?
I think it was important for the women to be featured, because they are still a growing division, and a lot of those aren't names that, like, I mean, they're names, you know, but like their interactions need to feel more viable. Yeah. And this gave them more time. You know, this wasn't, they had a fairly amount of time. You know, a big critical thing that fans had was not giving the women enough time. They have plenty of time here. But the issue is they did something like this post-match after the main event here. I do have to talk about other things that were announced on this show. The Cody and Brandy Rhodes reality show is now a thing. We heard very little rumblings of this. This was talked about like a while ago, like I would say more than 9 months ago. And then we never really heard anything else about it. The promos ran tonight. What do you think of the show? I know you enjoy yourself some of the reality. Do you think the show will be entertaining? Because there's a little bit of some sauce when they talk about how they do things for other people that aren't done for them. It's kind of like couple against the world type stuff.
This is going to be so great. My whole schedule is going to revolve around this. It's the wrestling reality show that I need. Like, I watch, a shot of Brandy on YouTube all the time. And now that she's pregnant, she's not doing a lot of it. So I am here for the chisme that I'm going to get with this reality show, Kev. Like, could you imagine all of the tea that's going to be spilled?
I'm sorry, because I'm old. I'm just an Irish kid from the South Side.
Are you not excited about this?
I don't know what chisme is.
Okay, so chisme is like gossip, right?
Okay.
So like, the word
hot goss.
Yes.
The hottest goss.
Yes. The word
I pull up Telemundo, one of the daytime shows. They have a chisme section.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
fine. Fine. I don't feel like I'm out of there.
No, it's not.
And Ireland is called What's the Crack? What's the crack is like what's cracking is like, hey, what's the crack? What's up? What are we talking about?
I like
that type of stuff. So this show keeps developing. We get a main event here. Darby Allin versus John Silver. Two young studs here. Darby Allin fresh off a strong pay-per-view performance. He's got Sting in his corner, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Lance Archer cut a promo earlier in the night on Sting. It seems like they're going to have a match down the line. But these guys had one hell of a match, back and forth, tornado DDTs, Darby Allin throwing his body around like he's getting knocked by a car left and right, and John Silver having the match of his life. This was really, really strong. Dark Order at ringside, Darby Allin doing coffin drops off the top rope and like nearly getting not caught by like four guys. It looked like he got caught, but it still looked rough.
Kind of.
He was able to get back in the ring and reverse a big maneuver into a code red. Your winner, Darby Allin, but still a strong performance by John Silver here.
Yeah, John Silver is just becoming such a fan favorite. Like, you have to give him this push. I don't know when he's going to be pushed for a title, but I do love him having these matches every week. Like, of course, because he can go.
Mm-hmm. Other people agreeing about, maybe DJ is texting saying Allie versus Sheeta for the title next week. We'll see. Well, certainly they announced some big stuff next week. We did have a segment tonight with QT Marshall and Cody. They're going to have an exhibition match where they're just going to be friends. We're just going to be friends. We're just going to have this exhibition match, and you're my former friend, and we're not going to be mean, and Arn Anderson's going to be the referee, and everything's going to be fun. No, that's not going to last long.
No.
Yes. Other people are also telling me this is the Spanish word for tea. So
yes. Yes. No, I'm just teaching you tonight.
You're teaching me. I don't mind.
By the end of the night.
Kyle, with his wonderful Toronto Blue Jays hat on here, is saying the match was really strong. I just felt it was a little rushed. Damn you, Matt Hardy. Let's get into that. Matt Hardy getting involved in this as well. Attacking John Silver. He has his new HFO group, his new faction, which has been looming around the ring. He has Butcher and the Blade. He has Alley. He's basically bought them as mercenaries right now. And he has Private Party. And this breaks into the Dark Order, and then Allie's out there, and Ty Conti's out there, and it's just like we just saw this like 20 minutes earlier. This is just more people. How many times have they done this ending? They've done this ending they've done this ending a little bit too much.
But you know what? What I like about this group, specifically Matt Hardy's group, is that there's girls involved. Like the Inner Circle, no women whatsoever. The Pinnacle, of course, is all testosterone town over there. So
we'll talk about those guys too.
They're winning me over by having Allie come out, and then Vicky Guerrero was there too. I'm like, there's just a lot of people right here,
Mm-hmm. So that is most of AEW. I do want to talk about the Pinnacle. They got a new T-shirt that looks like a mountain. So I was like, Pinnacle of a mountain. That makes sense.
Yeah.
They were featured in a 6-man tag match that they won pretty easily. They all got to cut a promo, including Dax, who did the Pro Wrestling's on the Marquee, which is a fun line, but also one I've heard a lot. like if you watch some old stuff on the network or Peacock, it's said a lot. MJF though went off on Chris Jericho, saying that the only thing that's breaking underneath Chris Jericho is chairs right now. I was like, oh, come on.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah, but this is MJF. Where does this go? Does Chris Jericho lead the Inner Circle as they were? Because it seems like they're still bringing them up as a group against this new Pinnacle group. I'm okay with it, but they're just selling these guys as horsemen who aren't called horsemen.
Ooh, Kev, those are strong words.
Am I wrong? But is that inaccurate?
Yeah, I don't think it's inaccurate. But I am excited for this new group because they would be people to challenge the Inner Circle. I would hope that the Inner Circle stays strong, because then you're just going to have the Pinnacle, and then it just seems like it's a ripoff of the Inner Circle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All right, we will get to NXT in a little bit. Some people talking about how the NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver cards, 2 nights of them, are coming together so well. We will talk about that, but this is pretty good. But here comes the important part, where the weight gets put on your shoulder, where you have to put a number on there, because we can't just have these things. We need a definitive, all important. If I don't listen to the entire podcast, I just want to know the ratings. Yeah. Just like the many people that don't read Meltzer's newsletter and just want to know his ratings. They want to know what the Wrestlezone guys and the Wrestlezone gals said about the ratings. No, these are not that important. But scale 1 to 10, what do you give AEW Dynamite tonight?
I'm going to give it a 6.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. 6.
I feel like after last week for me was a 10.
Yeah.
Just the women alone. So
it's kind of hard sometimes to come down from something that's particularly special.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting it to be such a drop. Like there were some really, really strong matches, but everything that main event felt real rushed. Like Darby was just drilling. Even when he went through every move, he was going off the top rope. He was like, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna get back in the ring. And it was like it could have been better.
He's like, I'm getting paid tonight.
Yeah. So you're not getting paid in minutes, buddy. You're getting paid, so it's all right here. Other people texted in and they give it a 6.5. Some people give it a 7 here. And of course they do have to talk about this before we jump into NXT. Are we hyped for the Arcade Anarchy match? This will be Chucky T, Chuck Taylor, and Orange Cassidy, who now has the Pixies. Where Is My Mind as his theme song, that's not a cheap song to buy, by the way. Pretty big alternative song. They will take on Miro and Kip Sabian. Video games have been the main back and forth dialogue of this feud, which I think is going on a little bit too long. And we will have an Arcade Anarchy match where they will be able to bash each other into arcade machines around the ring. This is a match that is made for TV, I guess, because maybe this wouldn't be fun to see at ringside, but
yeah,
they have, everyone's super far away from the ring. I don't know. I mean, are they going to get the rights to like hit somebody over the head with a Pac-Man machine? What's going to go on? How many Retromania references are going to be in this?
So cool if they can do that. I don't know if it's going to be as fun as the Mimosa match that they had with Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho.
Yeah, this is goofy and out there. And,
Yeah.
and it could be either really good or really bad. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it, and I hope that I'm not disappointed. And I don't think that I will be because it's Chucky T. Like, come on.
Fun guy. I think it'll be fun for Orange Cassidy. We have Trent on the shelf. I mean, they've had to adapt to this thing, so we'll see where it goes. Let's get into NXT. NXT on paper was a really, really strong show.
Yeah.
All right. We knew we were getting Walter, one of his first matches on NXT in over a year. We knew we were going to get this major collision between Kyle O'Reilly, at least some idea what their match is going to be for the upcoming takeover. And we got Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. And we have the NXT women's tag team titles on the line. So as much as people say AEW has more star power, AEW did not have Chris Jericho tonight. They had Kenny Omega. They had the Bucks.
Yeah.
But I really think there was maybe just some more fluid storytelling on NXT. It felt like there was a greater sense of escalation. It felt like WrestleMania season. Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. Banger of an opener for them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It was really good. And I wasn't expecting for the women to go that hard right in the beginning of NXT, but I was here for it. And Raquel she's just a powerhouse. She scares me, man. I don't know. She scares me. But I do like that storyline that they have between Io and her right now. It's just so good. They were crawling to each other at the end of the match. Like, are we really going to, do this? And they didn't, but it's a good build up.
Zoe Stark is a hot new name, but you can't just fire up everyone so quickly. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are established. Io Shirai is the NXT Women's Champion. Poor Zoe had to be the dummy who got tossed around a whole lot in this match.
But she still looked good.
She did. She still did look good. And my particular favorite part of the match was Io Shirai getting up on the apron after being blasted off the top rope, right?
Yeah.
And Raquel has Zoe Stark just like on her back and still big boots Io Shirai and then does a spinning choke slam. I was like, Raquel, you are just becoming a highlight reel at this point in terms of a big woman.
Too powerful for her own good.
Too powerful. What do you think of that back pose she does where she's always showing off the traps?
Oh, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
If I had that back, I'd be showing off too, right? Like you would show off those muscles.
Muscles. Got all the muscles out there.
Yes.
And I did like this because this does show off tag team wrestling, which is a new focus for the women. They have a deep roster of women. They can do some fun things with them.
Yeah.
Later on in the night, we had another women's match. This is for the NXT women's tag team titles. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon against Aaliyah, who did not have a tag team partner, and her ridiculous manager, Mr. Stone, were able to lock in a deal with Mercedes Martinez where they could pay her half the money and then the other half after the match. But it didn't really matter.
On layaway on a payment plan.
Yes. They have the same plan for when you tried to buy a couch a little bit too early once you moved out of your parents' place. Like me, when I was in Iowa and I had to buy a couch on layaway. I had to return it. It was not fun. So don't do that. Aaliyah, though, takes the pin in this. Fun night for the women across the board. They really built some fun things here, building up to TakeOver. Io Shirai defending against Gonzalez. We'll also have the NXT Women's Tag Team titles in action as well.
Yeah, and I'm super excited that they're really building up this women's tag division because now that we have women's tag team titles, you really need to make these girls shine. Like you can't just build, tag team titles around a no division, right? So I'm excited. And I'm wearing my Shotzi shirt because I had to support. So
eat my tank. It's a little aggressive.
A little aggressive, but
it's a little aggressive. That's one of those t-shirts like back in the day when I was a young Attitude Era fan in high school. Mind you, I went to a boys' private school. You couldn't wear the Austin 316 like middle finger shirt. Like those were a thing. The DX suck it t-shirt. You can't wear that in high school. Maybe that could be a t-shirt that gets you in trouble at high school. All right. Young wrestling fans, beware of the
wrestling fans. Don't show up to school in this Shotzi shirt. Get another one.
Chris Green is saying NXT TakeOver is looking better than WrestleMania. He's saying greater than.
Oh.
All right.
Strong statement. We'll see.
Michael Covington, Reed versus LA Knight. was kind of takeover level. They had a lot of time here. This is LA Knight's, I believe, second match on NXT, formerly known as Eli Drake. He did the walk and talk promo that's kind of become his thing. He's like, listen to me talk here for a minute. And he definitely paid for the spray tan tonight. Wasn't too much spray tan. It was just enough.
I really like him in the ring and as a character. I feel like he's just giving me that like superstar quality that I need. So I feel like if I was to bump into him, like he would still act the same, you know? Like that's the kind of vibe.
Give you a little bit of a wink though through the sunglasses. Yeah. I'm protecting the gimmick. Yeah. But yeah, so this one, Herman, German suplex to car, saying surprised LA Knight lost tonight. Yeah, big splash from Bronson Reed, who's been kind of chasing him here for a few weeks. And also Bronson Reed is a big man. He's a super heavyweight. He is a big man in that category of wrestler, but does not wrestle like this. He reminds me so much of Bam Bam Bigelow, and he moves so dynamically. I don't mind LA Knight taking the loss here because they didn't super position him for like a title run or anything like that really quickly. So I'm okay with this. It makes sense. Hopefully they get to do some more stuff down the line. I can see them. They will be a part of that big battle Royale eliminator. Like someone comes out every 3 minutes and there's a match, and it was sort of confusing. They set this up next week, night one of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. 12 men in this eliminator match, which is like half Royal Rumble, half Gauntlet. Sort of. Were you confused by that?
I was a little confused, and then I kind of caught on by the end where Regal was like, okay, the last 6 men who are in there, every time someone's thrown out, like that's going to determine the order. And I'm like, what is happening? Like there was just a lot of words, and I feel like they could have just phrased it differently or explained it differently. I don't know.
We're being asked about the stipulation for Colin O'Reilly. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll cover that. We're working our way up here.
Yes.
And Scott George saying, woohoo, Wrestfriends in the house. Once again, check out the channel. Very, very fun, lighthearted stuff. No toxicity allowed. I appreciate that.
No toxicity.
And we're running down NXT here, which I thought was a very strong show. It felt like a go home for a show. Like if the pay-per-view was this weekend, like that kind of build was there. But the things, we have a whole nother week to get to it. It's just like it's like the same. It's the problem that WWE has. They produce so much content. Sometimes you get like this really hot week from them where you just wish it was now. And I guess that's a good problem, right? If they have that momentum, right? Because they start rolling out these matches and they're announcing more and more. And we get Jordan Devlin versus Kushida in the main event here.
This was good.
This wasn't the show closing segment. This is the main event. And we get Jordan Devlin versus Kushida. They went back and forth. Kushida is the New Japan legend. Everyone wants him to get his moment. He called out Devlin saying, if you are this guy, you should be able to defend that belt before you kind of unify it. Give me a shot at it, right? And they're going back and forth. A lot of action, but Devlin is able to deter Santos Escobar, who is going to face for a NXT Cruiserweight title unification match because Jordan Devlin was stuck in Ireland with the pandemic, right? And the Legado del Fantasma comes out to the ring. He's able to slide underneath their feet, get them to jump on the top rope. And then there's a handspring back elbow to knock them off the top rope. Then he rolls Kushida, who did the handspring back elbow, into a bridging pin where he balanced on his head, which is usually an exercise they do to strengthen the wrestling. Very, very cool finish. I liked it. What did you think of this scenario with Santos Escobar getting a lot more hype than I thought they were going to get? I thought they would just be buried in the 2 night, not buried, but I mean like in the thick of the 2 nights of Takeover, that they wouldn't get that much shine. And they got plenty of it because then right after the match, Shawn Michaels comes out and tosses a title in the ring, a ladder in the ring, and both guys posed with their Cruiserweight titles. I was like, this is so much more attention than I thought the NXT Cruiserweight title scene was going to get.
Yes, I mean, you think of that title and it's just like, kind of on the bottom. But right now, the way that they're selling it, I'm here for it. And you just saw HBK in the background and I'm like, what is happening? And Shawn Michaels comes out. He puts the ladder in the ring and I'm like, no, they're not going to make this a ladder match.
And he didn't say anything.
Yes.
He didn't say any. It was perfect. It was subtle. It's like, come on, we got 10 minutes. You don't have to cut the on the nose promo.
Yeah.
You're Shawn Michaels. You're the ladder match guy. You've won ladder matches. Slide a ladder into the ring and have them pose.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do. Speaking of have them pose, Karrion Kross got in the ring tonight in a hard-hitting 2-segment match, which we knew was going to end with him winning, but God damn it. Only Lorcan put his boots on tonight. He's getting suplexed out of the ring. He's getting suplexed on the floor. Karrion Kross is a monster, whooping him good. They have a war. Kross gets the win. Kross is set to face Finn Balor. But last week, Kross and Balor were the odd pairing against the NXT Men's Tag Team Champions, which was only Lorcan and Danny Burch. Danny Burch got hurt in that match, legitimately hurt, so they had to drop those titles. That created another scenario. There'll be a triple threat, but they stuck on these promos where it seemed very odd, or at least like Karrion Kross is trying to find his breath. Did you agree with me on this? Did you see this?
I was a little confused. I mean, I get it because Karrion was putting a lot of work in, right? And I think he was bleeding from his neck or something because there was a drop of blood running down his chest as he was, saying this promo, and I was like, Lord.
And it looked badass, and I didn't care because I could see him like he was trying to find his place, but I was like, I don't care. I was like, you're bleeding.
I was thinking almost like hand the mic to Scarlett, let her finish this promo, right?
Because and Balor cuts him off.
Yeah.
And Balor lays it all out about why you're here. I know why you're here. I know what this is all about. I knew you were coming. That great line that started this a month ago when Kross snuck up behind him and Balor didn't get caught. He's turning. He's like, "What took you so long?" Where it's just like, I've been waiting for you to come up to my level, and this is on you for not being on my level.
Yeah.
And they used the Capitol Wrestling Center screens in a cool way, where they had their logos and they had the stand deliver thing. I liked it. Nice segment. Not the best promo of the night, because the best promo of the night ended the night. But what did you think of this one?
Well, I thought it was a good promo until we got to the end of the night, right? I was like, man, Finn Balor, the prince of promos, coming out here telling Karrion Kross that he's too emotional. Like, what? What?
How do you tell a guy? How do you tell a guy who walks out and acts like he's the living apocalypse that he's too emotional?
I was like, you cannot say that, Finn Balor. And Karrion Kross was just looking like, what else are you going to say? Like, okay, I'm too emotional. What else you got? And oh my God, I thought it was so good. Like, I was here for it, man. Finn Balor, he was like, I'm going to drown you. I believed it. Where's the pool? He was going to shove him in.
The hands.
Where's
the pool? Where's the pool? There's no lifeguard on duty.
I'm ready.
There's no lifeguard on duty here.
I think Karrion Kross was going to drown, and I think Finn might take this one.
Scarlett would just be trying to seduce the lifeguard away from seeing.
Scarlett is tanning.
Yes.
Okay. She's got better things to do.
She's got better things to do. So other people chiming in here across the board. If Kross loses, do we see him the night after Mania on Raw? I don't know. It seems I want a better idea of where things stand the week before TakeOver, and I'll kind of know that question. And I think we're bound to see some people move around. I would see more people move. I think you see more people move from Raw to SmackDown than that.
Yeah, than NXT to main roster.
Yeah. I think you would see that before anything. People also want to know, in terms of this before we get to the end of the night, which was Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole and the end of the Undisputed Era, which we've all known, but this is the true end of it all. Stephen Chambers saying, "I think we might see the Demon at TakeOver." There's a chance of it, but I don't know. I don't think Finn Balor's needed to put the Demon makeup on for a while. This new character where he's like literally punking people out on the microphone and having great matches. I don't know if it's exactly necessary.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to bring out the Demon. I think if he's on a losing streak, maybe. But right now, Finn Balor's at the top. Like, why would he need to bring out the Demon just for this one match?
You know what I mean? It's weird to say that I don't think he needs it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. So let's get to the end of the night. It's been teased. We had promos online of these guys attacking each other, including Adam Cole attacking Kyle O'Reilly at his Gracie Jiu-Jitsu gym and being pulled out. And they did the three different security cameras and stuff like that. That was nice. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm devastated about this, Kev.
And then Kyle O'Reilly being approached by Roderick Strong, who was in the Undisputed Era with him and Adam Cole and Bobby Fish, and he goes, we should go out there and kick his ass, and I'm just as mad as you. And Kyle O'Reilly just cuts him off, and he goes, "There's no us."
Yeah.
Like he's like, "This is over, dude. Like I'm done with this whole thing." And we have this whole clarity, but white hot anger from Kyle O'Reilly. Talk about a character coming into his own. And he's been doing this for a while, but in terms of just like character promo work, we got it tonight. He carried this segment. He carried it in terms of what was needed. The show off, the two sides of the table, the security guards, William Regal saying, you embarrassed the company with your behavior, and all the he's going off and like there's a dad. And this is how we're going to settle it. And we're not responsible for what's going to happen to either one of you. You're both signing off on this. It's an unsanctioned match, a hardcore match, a street fight. That's what we're doing. Adam Cole cuts his thing and says there's no undisputed era with him. There's no, you're not even in WWE. You are a lap dog. Like when he called him a lap dog, that's all you're supposed to be. He brought up twice, and it was almost like he was going like not full speed. He wasn't in full gear. Yeah. Like he was kind of only loud at the end. And then Kyle O'Reilly gets the stake and says, I got something out of the Undisputed Era that you didn't get. You got to be this champion and break all these records, and we helped you do that. But I got to be a better person. And I was just like, dude. And he goes, I lost my soul in the Undisputed Era, and getting out of it made me a better person. I don't have to attack people. He did the full baby face switch. He took the switch from heel and went all the way to, if you thought he was in the middle baby face, he's been baby face for a while, but he went full doing it right. I'm going to fight for good. I'm going to do things the right way. I'm sick of doing these 4-on-1 beatdowns. I'm sick of being your guy. I'm my guy. I'm going to be me again. I'm not going to be your Kyle O'Reilly. The Undisputed Era gave everything to you. It didn't give that. It gave some things to me. And I have to become accountable for my actions. I have to atone and get my soul back. I was just like, God damn, this is hell of a promo. I thought the promos were almost better than wrestling tonight on both shows. Yeah. Loved it. I give NXT an 8.5. I wish TakeOver was now. We haven't even talked about Walter and Drake. But I after this promo, I was like, give me TakeOver now. What do you think?
It was so good. This breakup has felt like I was in it. I've been offended and sad and devastated, but I'm all on Kyle's side. You know, he's got a new look coming out, smells like Teen Spirit outfit with his jean jacket, with his mohawk.
I don't need you, Dad. Like that's his style now. Yeah.
Do you know, like when you have to wear like uniform, like you know, and then you like graduate from there, and now you have to start styling your own outfits? That's what it feels like. Like Kyle's trying on to see what works for him, and this works for him. So
he's like me when I went to a private school and then I went to Columbia. I was like, wait, I don't have to wear a button-up shirt every day? Yes, this is great.
Just like that. He's getting the Columbia experience right now. So
you know what, Columbia, you create.
Yes, you find your squad. Unless you're Kyle O'Reilly, then you break up with your squad.
Yeah, you break up with your squad. You find your squad and then you break up with them your senior year. So this was a wild ending. I love it. I want your rating in a minute, but I know I jumped the gun here. Gargano versus Dunne for the North American title. That's what some people want to see in terms of who gets out of this huge multi-man kind of. They confused. That was one thing. It was kind of confusing. They quickly set that up here.
Yeah.
A lot of people giving the show an 8, a 9.5. They liked it. Really enjoyed the show. I thought this was a mark better than AEW tonight in terms of bouncing back and forth. I felt myself wanting to stay on NXT a little bit more in terms of some matches, including when we saw Walter. Yes, the ring general. March out to the ring. He has one of the best entrances in all of wrestling.
Yes.
The Imperium, you remind that, yes, they are evil men who are brutal.
You want the track jackets, right? Like you want that outfit.
Yes, dude. If you were a jock bro, this is like they're the new Undisputed Era
outfit.
Yeah, they're Undisputed Era with less words. That's what they are. They're quiet Undisputed Era. And they get out there to the beloved cruiserweight, the beloved little guy. He's gonna go out there and I'm gonna go pick a fight with the big guy, Drake Maverick, who gets slaughtered. He just gets slaughtered in this match, destroyed. Tommaso Ciampa comes out to save the day. He also gets slaughtered and destroyed. Walter is a beast. He is a beast. I get Brock Lesnar vibes from him. Everything that you get from Bobby Lashley, Walter has had for a long, long time. It was smart of NXT to bring some of those hot hands from the UK over for this time of year and spice up NXT. And these are guys that you already know and you just hadn't seen them in a while. So I thought there's this, and I love this. This is really cool. Ciampa, the flag bearer of NXT, the franchise guy, is going to go up against the European monster, and they built it up right. He tried to save the day, and he almost got crushed by him. He's a monster. Can you fight the monster? That's what this is.
This is scary because Walter just comes out looking angry and mean, and you're terrified before he's even in the ring. And I blinked, and this match was over, Kev. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, oh man, Drake, I really thought you had this one, right? Like I was giving him, my support through the television screen, and he let me down. But
it's not his fault.
It's not his fault, right?
One of Walter's legs weighs more than Drake Maverick. So it's fine.
Man. Oh man. But I'm not mad that Walter won. I'm a huge fan of Walter. And Tommaso Ciampa came out in some John Cena 2005 shorts, the camo shorts. I was here for that. I'm like, you know what, Tommaso? I need you more in this outfit.
You don't like his previous outfits?
His previous outfits are all right, but I think this one I appreciated because it felt vintage, right? Like the camo feels vintage. So I'm surprised that he got laid out by Walter, though.
So this 2-night takeover is coming together big time. I think these cards are coming together in a way when you look at paper, like this feels like very WrestleMania-esque, like in terms of what they're going to give you. Long-term payoff for Cole and Balor, Cole and O'Reilly. I like that they didn't have to tie it to Balor, and then you're getting the cross match as well. They are going to headline night one with Io and Gonzalez, which is a match that people have also been talking about. Yeah. I think NXT has put together a card that people should not be sleeping on. If you are one of those people that like AEW is a show you pick on Wednesday nights, maybe this week of WrestleMania is the night you say, I'm going to watch NXT tonight. Cause like this is a really, really strong 2-night offering. They've done these before where they do them week to week, but I do like that they'll do like whoever wins the Battle Royal night one gets to face Gargano
on night two.
I was hoping they would do something like that on WrestleMania, but they haven't announced anything like that in terms of bridging the nights like that.
They still might have time.
So overall, this is a great night for wrestling. I'm feeling it. Overall, though, let me ask you, Rest Friend, how you feeling about WrestleMania? Because WrestleMania has possibly too much stuff during WrestleMania week, because it's like 9 days of stuff. Is it too much?
I don't think that there could be too much WrestleMania stuff because it has become like this giant event now that we're continuing to have 2 days, right? The only thing that I'm really hoping is that we get the women main eventing. I really don't think that we'll get it, but this is my hope that I want Sasha and Bianca main eventing night one or night two. But I don't know, maybe they're going to give it to like Roman or Drew, but I do think that there's space for the women to main event. So why not? Everyone's talking about it. There's a whole Twitter trend hashtag happening. So I think they could easily get behind this and put it as a main event. That's what I'm hoping.
How many fans are going to be angry if we don't have a women's main event this year at WrestleMania?
So mad. I'm going to email people like I've never emailed people before.
You're going to write a formal letter of complaint.
Listen, I'm going to handwrite letters and I'm going to the post office to buy stamps. This is how dedicated I'm going to be. If women do not main event WrestleMania, I'm going to be pissed, Kev. Like, I'm going to be giving Mad Karen, let me speak to your manager vibes.
Oh, come on now. Don't go Karen on WWE.
I'm going to go Karen on WWE. This
what,
is and
you're not wearing a mask and a target? What are you doing right now? This is not necessary.
I'm going to recruit my sorority sisters, and we are all going to march down to headquarters.
We're going to march down in the loudest heels so they can hear us coming.
You're gonna hear us a mile away, okay? I don't think that there's a lot going on, though. I do think that for what WrestleMania has become, I think it's good that there's a lot of stuff. It's busy. I was looking up tickets before this. Oh my God.
Yeah. I checked that out on Vivid Seats today, one of the different, resale markets. Mind you, these could come down. There's about 25,000 seats. They are going to use even the upper deck for this as well. It's going to be 25,000 people spread out. I don't know if it's going to look like the Super Bowl in terms of like, seat fillers, but they have them in pods. Majority of people that I've spoken to who got tickets are going to both nights.
Okay.
All right. So it's very hard to get them in singles, like a single ticket by itself. But the actual price for these is up sometimes like 4 or 5 times the face value. Even at the cheapest tickets, those are going $35. That's your cheapest ticket. That's going for like $190 in some cases, upwards of $300, depending on what your sight line is to the ring.
Yeah. I was looking on Ticketmaster, and they're pretty hefty for ringside. I don't know how people got their tickets and are going both nights. And then I was like in the process of like ordering to see like what else you could get. And of course they have the seat. The WrestleMania seat is going for $150, the commemorative WrestleMania one that you get. And I'm like, $150? Lord, it was just
collectibles, man. Collectibles. Yeah. People want that stuff. It's certainly a plenty. Our very own John Clark will be there. If you're going to be there, reach out to us at Wrestlezone. We want to know what it looks like when you get there, all the different stuff. Do want to talk to you about this. More Hall of Fame news came out today. We covered it a little bit, but enjoy your take. Kane and the Great Khali are today's announcements for the WWE Hall of Fame. What do you think?
I'm excited for Kane to be inducted. He was a huge part of WWE, and the fact that Undertaker got to tell him, I'm like, oh, heartfelt moments, like wrestling brothers. I'm hoping that we get more women inducted. I was kind of sad that Victoria was not announced because they had her on the bump recently. And I'm like, oh, well, this would have been a good chance to give her an induction.
Do you think they put her on there just to swerve people? So this has been the thing for the people that don't know. WWE has their Sports Center show, and I covered this earlier today on a different podcast with Ross Berman. We wanted to do a bunch of different things about New Japan if you want to check that out. And on it, he's on the other side of it, where to me, it was an emotional thing. They've been doing this on the bump. Their Sports Center web show where they have different guests on who zoom in and do it, multi-camera and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so Undertaker's on, and if Undertaker's on, he's telling Kane what's going to happen. Because a couple weeks ago, they started this with Molly Holly.
Yeah.
And Molly Holly was on, and Shane Helms, who worked with her in the ring, and they did the superhero pairing thing together on WWE like 20 years ago, gets very emotional, and they pitch to him to say something, and he's kind of choked up, and you're like, I like watching. I was like, he's going to tell her that she's in the Hall of Fame. Like immediately, I'm like watching it, and I was like, oh wow! And I didn't know this was going to happen. It was really great. But you knew since then, if they had any legendary names on, that they were going to be involved in either making an announcement for the Hall of Fame or in getting inducted themselves by somebody. So Kane was on. They did not advertise the Undertaker, though it was his birthday. So they kind of made it seem like, but once they were on camera, you knew. With Great Khali, they had Ranjan Singh, his manager, got to tell him in India, and he was only on briefly. I assume he'll be filming something in India. I doubt he'll be flying in from India for considering the pandemic to do this. I do feel maybe Victoria was booked in that role, but Victoria was on the show a couple weeks ago, and they had a really good time with her. So I think
but like having a really good time with her is different than inducting her in the Hall of Fame. Like,
I'm impartial. I'm biased. I got to perform at Lisa Marie Varon's restaurant in Chicago. She was very, very good to me. I've had great correspondence with her. I got to interview her right around the time that she was retiring from in-ring action, and love everything she's doing at GAW TV, by the way. We just did an interview with SoCal Val, GAW TV, which is gorgeous, grown-ass women. Okay, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling's glow. This is GAW, all right? A little bit more of that phonetic thing throws me off. But it's a great talk show with Victoria, Mickie James, and SoCal Val. They're doing Dresselmania, where they're raising to get these beautiful formal dresses for underprivileged people that need them. It's a really, really cool charity. So you can check out that interview that we just dropped. It's in our podcast feed. I do think one day Victoria will go in the Hall of Fame, and
tears.
I'll cry big crocodile tears.
Yeah, when that day does happen. But
it will.
I'm glad of the people who have been inducted so far. I do think that Kane is great. I was just watching his scary movie the other day. What is it? See No Evil.
Yeah,
terrifying movie. I love.
Do you fall for the horror movies like really easily, like just even the simpler ones?
Yes. I mean, I love to watch them, but I'm just like, ew, why did I do this to myself? Right? Like, Like, why am I here? But
Ew.
it was
Ew.
good.
When did I do
Ew,
this stuff?
man.
Here we'll get a question in for you while we have you on here. Irdian, if you go to WrestleMania, could you take out Robert Defelice? He's in Florida. Robert is the Benedict Defelice, who is sometimes on Wrestlezone. I believe currently right now, as I talk to you at 10 Central, he is probably on another podcast with another prominent wrestling website that is both Fight and Full. And he is prominent there. And they say, maybe you... Cool. Thank you. I appreciate this, James. If you attack Robert for me, if you do the hit for... Because he won't see it coming from you. You're friend. You're friends with him. Oh. You're probably more friends with him now than I am. Okay.
Oh man,
would you attack him and spray paint WZ on his back?
You know what? I thought initially this was like if I was going to WrestleMania, like would he be my +1? And this just was not that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I of course would, because Robert just rubs me the wrong way sometimes, and he's gonna watch this later and probably message me like, bro, why would you say that? Why would you talk about it? He's gonna be like, Irdian.
It's gonna be bro with an exclamation point.
Yes.
Bruh.
He's gonna be like, I thought we were homies, Rest Friend.
This is in response to a recent episode of the Wrestfriends podcast.
Yeah.
In which Robert appeared. Now, Robert, we have dual custody of Robert and Wrestlezone. And on different days that end in Y, he works for the other website, and other days he works for us. In all seriousness, I love Robert. Like everyone knows, I genuinely love him and I cherish him. He's a beautiful person in my life. All right, that I've never physically met, which is such an odd thing.
Yeah.
And you guys flat out asked him, start the interview, Irdian. We're 51 minutes in the show. We can talk inside shop now.
I needed
51 minutes, but you guys went right into the shop talk right away when you had him on. Okay, I waited. Okay, I waited 51 minutes. We give the fans what they tune in for. Give me the meat. I want NXT and AEW, and tell me what's going on with WrestleMania. We gave him the meat. You went right for the toy. You skipped the Happy Meal and you went right for the toy, and you just wanted the tea. And you asked him flat out, which website, Wrestlezone or Fightful, do you enjoy working more? And then he didn't have an in, he didn't have an out, but he was just talking about the clout. All right, so that's something he acknowledged, that he likes Fightful, and I may have to bring this up with our boss. It may. Oh,
please.
I may have to bring it up. Loyalty this time of year, it's very important.
Yes, it's very valuable. You know what? And this is why I asked that question, because I knew that you would listen and the truth would come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that I asked it. I
love how you're kayfabing your way on this on both sides.
I'm glad that this is what came out of it, because I was like, you need to be honest, bro. You can't just be having both. You can't just have your cake and eat it too. This is not it. But
shout out to Phil in New Jersey who's watching the show. Shout out to everyone who's watching and listening to the show for the first time. Shout out to the people that put us on the Apple podcast charts in Anguilla. That's right, the island nation of Anguilla. We were number 6. We were number 6. I'll take it, baby. On the Apple Sports Podcast chart. Cyprus, we're still on that chart. Small island nations. If you know anyone in a country of less than 100,000 people, message them about our podcast just so we can take over that chart. That's what I'm going for. We're going for the small markets. That's what we take out the small ones. Also, check out all the different things going on our podcast feed. As I mentioned, all those different interviews are dropping. Make sure your notifications are on for all the cool stuff you're doing so you know exactly when we go live. And also, check out Wrestfriends. You guys are doing some great stuff. What's coming on with you guys?
Yeah, so we have a new podcast episode out each week. We might have Robert on again. Who knows what tea he's going to spill this time. Oh, Lord. But we are also going to start putting more videos up on our YouTube at Wrestfriends, because it's WrestleMania season. There's going to be a lot of Bad Bunny content. You guys are not ready for this. I'm
Bad Bunny.
So excited.
How do you feel about Bad Bunny and Miz? I mean, every Latin American wrestling fan I've talked to, has brought that up to me. Is at least that I know in my life. Yeah. I had 4 messages on Tuesday morning from Someone a Columbia friend was also bringing it up to me. Someone who worked for WWE, isn't with the company anymore, messaged me about it, and they were just like, "Dude, this is a big deal." Like, I was like, and it was like, I don't think it is a big deal, but it definitely still has that weird disconnect where wrestling fans don't like, who are out of the bubble of pop music. It feels like two different audiences are kind of being pushed together here, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I have a lot of friends who also don't watch wrestling, and they were like, "Oh my God, Bad Bunny," because they just love him and they were buying his merch. And that's probably why my t-shirt sold out and they canceled my order, because other people who were not WWE fans were coming in and buying the Bad Bunny merch.
The marks took it from the smarks. That's what happened.
Yes, blew my mind, but I am so excited for this Bad Bunny match. I wonder what his training process is. Like, what's his fit that's going to come out? Is he going to have a different WrestleMania song? What's the pyro? Damian Priest, what's the issue with that? Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm going to have a meet and greet with Damian Priest. So I'm excited.
The virtual meet and greet one?
Yes, the WrestleMania meet and greets. So I might ask him a couple spicy questions. Who knows? I'm excited. It's going to be good.
People saying how awesome your podcast is, which is great.
That is so nice. It's so nice here at Wrestlezone. I love y'all.
Yeah. So we're hearing good things, and always great to have you on. Always a great supporter of the things we do, especially around WrestleMania season. Things get very, very busy here.
Thanks.
I'm going to be on camera with one of the top independent wrestling promotions in the world, April 3rd, live on Twitch for free. It is the next edition of AAW Alive. Mance Warner of MLW fame, the AAW heavyweight champion, is going to be there. Roha Raju will be there as well. You may know him from Impact Wrestling. He wrestles outside of that as Akeem Zane. He will be there. The Muscle and the Hustle will be present, and I'll be on camera doing the stick work, hopefully not getting shoved around like I did one time by Madman Fulton, which was not fun. I did not enjoy that. I got shoved. I got aggressively shoved.
A good shove?
Like out of a room. Like, hey, get out of here. You know, like it was almost like how a bouncer would do it before he like wanted you to go further into the parking lot. You know, you got the idea. So hopefully I come unscathed. And that happens. So that's April 3rd. That'll be free on Twitch. I'll be putting out some more information. Maybe we get an interview about that next week as well. Thank you so much for the time. I always appreciate the time you give to us, and love everything that you guys are doing. I may make this stuff, but I also watch the people that make good stuff in this bubble, right? We bring up the bubble. You guys are doing great things. I love it. I love the spirit of it. It feels like your thing. It doesn't feel like we're trying to do somebody else's thing. No, you're doing your own thing. Wrestfriends is very, very, very cool. It's a very inclusive show. I think it was the perfect show for somebody who's new to wrestling, that this should be the show you listen to. I understand we're hardcore dorks. We can't get away from it. We've been suckling on the wrestling teat for our whole lives. But if somebody's like, they're a Bad Bunny fan and they come into wrestling, I say, go get it. Wrestfriends. Like that is a cool vibe. That is the perfect cross aisle wrestling discussion show.
Thank you, Kev. Tears. Oh my goodness. Those are such kind words. And you know, anytime that you need a fan, a friend, I am here for you.
Hot running.
Not so
hot running. yeah. You hear me like a Kirishita coming down with the kendo stick.
I got the kendo stick ready, Kev.
She had heels on too when she was doing it. I was impressed by that. I was like, oh wow, she really huffed it. That was something there. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Irdian, though, beyond all the plugs and all the other things, and possibly attacking Robert and spray painting Wrestlezone on his back. When watching wrestling, what are you supposed to do?
Oh, you're supposed to enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling, guys.
We're coming for you, Robert.